So I recently bought this Metcal HCT2-120, and it's a very small sort of hot air gun. And what makes this one different is that it's really designed for small parts, and you know, the maximum size they claim is 16 sock is the biggest you could do, but even that I think would be too much. So here's the biggest nozzle, and it goes down to something like this guy for the smallest. So this is really handy if you're doing very small parts, is sort of what I was looking at it for. If you want to, you know, swap 402 size resistors and stuff like that without disturbing too much of the other board. And it would never replace a normal size hot air gun. It's just too small for any of the, even, you know, a small TQFP is going to be too much for this thing. So what I'm comparing it to is I also have a pair of tweezers like this. And these tweezers are actually, in the end, a lot better than this guy for removal of just resistors. But if you want to do stuff like SOT23 packages, these get a little unwieldy. I have wider ones as well. So the overall verdict, and I'll show you for this tool, is it's fairly useful, but probably not a necessity. So it heats up automatically. It also detects when it's in the stand, and it'll go into a sort of power save mode. You can see it no longer climbs. If I take it out, it starts heating up again. So the maximum temperature is 450, which I found that I tend to have to use it at the highest temperature most of the time, and you can also adjust the flow rate depending on the nozzle. So it heats up pretty quick. And to show you how it works, I'm going to move over here, and we'll look at a few packages on this board here. So stuff like removing, say, some of these resistors here. And again, you could do this with the tweezers pretty quickly, but if you're replacing them, you can get a really nice solder joint using the hot air. And you can sort of see it's pretty quick to pop them off. And even some of these larger size packages do work, but it's really designed for smaller. So that's what, 1206 or possibly bigger. So even like this SOC 8 here, you can see I'll try to remove. We'll see, it might be a little much. At least I don't have the biggest tip on it. Oh, there we go. Alright. Try this guy here. So it's pretty easy. It doesn't disturb the other things as much. And to replace it, I can put some flux on this guy, put the part down and reheat it, and you'll get a really nice smooth solder joint. But it really sort of, you can really see its value when you're looking at very small parts. So here I've got what's like a very small, I think this is either QFN or almost BGA, some packages here. You know, very small, and even if you have a regular hot air gun, they're almost too high flow, and you'll end up blowing all the parts around it off, which if you've tried, you'll know the hassle this is. So for this guy, for example, to remove this resistor, I can get really close in. Give it a second. There we go. Take that off. I have to do it in front of the camera here. But you can see it's fairly useful. So let me remove one of these IC packages without trying to disturb the capacitors right beside it. There we go. Oop, okay. So you'll see I was able to get that small IC off without disturbing the nearby capacitor package. So for some rework, it's a pretty useful little tool, and that's just sort of a quick review of the HCT2-120.